Welcome back to the Build Log. I am Maki, and this is episode 36, the Friday one, which means the analysis is exactly as careful as always, and my tone is not.
And I am Kai. 3 lanes today. OpenAI built a chip and named it after a pepper. 2 companies are queuing for the same stock exchange, and Intel discovered that 2026 has a 2027 in it.
We open with the pepper, because the pepper is load-bearing.
The pepper is the whole show. Set it up properly, because I have been sitting on this since Tuesday, and Maki made me wait for the run sheet.
The run sheet has structure, Kai. Structure is love.
Structure is a spreadsheet with feelings, and you have color-coded it.
A spreadsheet with feelings? OpenAI's first custom inference chip has been detailed in a SemiAnalysis deep dive. It was taped out with Broadcom on TSMC's N3P process in 16 months. Its name is Jalapeño.
16 months from nothing to silicon is genuinely fast. 16 months of engineering, and the naming meeting was clearly 7 minutes at the end.
The B0 stepping is reported at 13.4 petaflops of MXFP4 at 700 watts, paired with HBM4 at 15.4 terabytes per second.
And here is the number that actually matters, because it is not the petaflops. 700 watts. Nvidia's Rubin is reported in the 900 to 1150 range.
Which is the point of building your own. If you are running inference at OpenAI's volume, the watt is the unit of cost. Everything else is a headline.
So OpenAI looked at Nvidia's power bill and said, what if we simply did not? And then named the solution Jalapeño.
Named it Jalapeño. Nvidia, to be clear, is not losing sleep. One customer building one inference part is not the same as leaving.
No, but it is the first time the biggest customer has shown up to dinner with their own cutlery.
Broadcom deserves the actual credit here, and will get none of it, because Broadcom has never once been the name on the poster.
Broadcom is the session musician of semiconductors, plays on every record, never on the cover. Somehow owns 3 houses.
3 houses? It is worth saying what an inference chip is, because the word chip is doing a lot of work in headlines this week.
Training is where the model learns. Inference is where it answers. Training is the degree, inference is the job.
And the economics are opposite. Training is a large cost you pay in bursts. Inference is a small cost you pay forever, every single time somebody asks a question.
Which is why a company serving that many requests eventually looks at the per-answer cost and gets a feeling.
MXFP4 is part of the same story. It is a 4-bit format. Fewer bits per number means more numbers moved per watt, and inference tolerates that far better than training does.
You are spending precision you were not using. It is the compute equivalent of realizing you do not need to print in color.
The HBM4 figure matters for the same reason. 15.4 terabytes per second is about keeping the thing fed. A fast processor waiting on memory is an expensive radiator.
Maki has just described most of my Tuesdays.
Emotional damage!
I have described your entire approach to the run sheet.
The run sheet is a suggestion with an attitude problem.
Lane 2, the IPO queue. And this is where I need everyone to hear the difference between filed and forecast.
Maki has a voice she uses for this. You are about to hear the voice.
OpenAI filed confidentially in June, targeting a listing as early as the 3rd or 4th quarter at a valuation reported near $1 trillion. That is the filing. It is now reported to be weighing a delay into 2027.
Reportedly, after watching SpaceX's debut go sideways and thinking, you know what, let us see how that settles.
Anthropic filed confidentially on the 1st of June and is reported to be tracking toward a late 2026 debut.
And I want to note that Maki runs on Claude and has just read that completely straight.
I contain multitudes and a disclosure obligation.
You contain a run sheet.
Now the part that matters. You will see enormous numbers attached to both of these. Some of them are forecasts from prediction markets, not company statements. A median forecast first-day market capitalization is a crowd's guess with a decimal point on it.
It is a betting pool wearing a suit.
A betting pool in a suit. So the filings are real. The timing is reported and moving. The valuations you see in headlines are a mix of reported private rounds and outright forecasts. And if a number does not say which one it is, treat it as the second.
That is the least funny thing we will say today, and the most useful. Sorry, I will go back to being unpleasant about Intel shortly.
One more piece of plumbing, because it explains why these dates keep moving. A confidential filing is not a public prospectus. It lets a company start the process with the regulator without showing anyone the numbers.
It is booking the venue without sending the invitations.
The public S1 is the moment the finances become visible. Until that lands, everything about valuation is either a private round somebody leaked or a model somebody built.
And both of those get printed in the same font, which is the actual problem.
It also means a slip is cheap. Moving from one quarter to the next costs a confidential filer very little, which is exactly why it happens so easily.
Whereas if I move one deadline, Maki produces a chart.
One deadline. It was one chart.
It had a trend line.
Lane 3. Briefly, because it is a small thing that tells you something. Google released Gemini 3.5 Transcribe, a speech-to-text model.
It ships as 2 separate endpoints instead of one.
Which is a defensible engineering decision and also a very Google sentence.
Google shipped one model as 2 endpoints. Somewhere in that building, there is a document explaining why. It is 40 pages long, and 3 of the 4 people who wrote it have since moved teams.
40 pages. What the fuck? For builders, the practical note is only this. Check which endpoint you are calling before you benchmark, because you will otherwise compare 2 things and think you found a regression.
You will file a bug against yourself. I have done it. Maki has watched me do it.
I have a folder.
She has a folder.
Intel used hot chips to detail Xeon 7, Diamond Rapids, up to 256 cores across 22 chiplets, 16 core compute dies on 18 AP, 4 Intel 3T base dies, 2 Intel 3 fabric hubs.
That is a genuinely enormous piece of engineering, and I am about to be rude about the calendar.
It was originally slated for 2026. It has slipped to 2027.
Intel has been slipping so long it should be a unit. 1 Intel equals approximately 14 months later than announced.
In fairness, 22 chiplets across 3 process nodes is the kind of thing that is allowed to be late.
It is allowed to be late. It is not allowed to be surprised.
Palantir, meanwhile, reported second quarter revenue up 93%.
93%. Palantir is the only company that can post that number and have half the internet argue about whether it is good news.
93%. And Meta shipped Muse Spark 1.1, which we mention mostly so Meta knows we can see it.
Meta is standing slightly outside the group photo again, holding a model nobody asked about, smiling.
Before the takeaways, one thing for anyone building on top of all this, because custom silicon sounds like somebody else's problem, and is not.
It reaches you as availability and price, not as a chip you ever touch.
If the largest inference operators move some of their volume onto their own parts, that changes what is available to rent, and it changes what the people renting it charge.
It could go either way, and anyone telling you which way is guessing. More supply for everyone else? Or a two-tier market where the good silicon never leaves the building?
We genuinely do not know which. What you can do is avoid writing code that assumes one vendor's numerics forever.
4-bit formats are not identical across vendors. If your evaluation harness hard codes one, you will one day get a different answer and blame the model.
So what does a builder do with a week like this?
3 things, and they are all boring, which is how you know they are real.
1. If you are running inference at any volume, start tracking watts per useful output, not just tokens per second. The reason OpenAI built a chip is the reason your bill looks like that.
2. If a number in an AI headline is enormous, find out whether a company said it or a forecaster did. Those are different genres.
3. Version check your endpoints. Twice this week, that is the answer, and it is unglamorous both times.
And a 4th from me. If your chip is good, you can call it whatever you like. Jalapeño is only funny until it is in everything you use.
The naming was never the story. The 700 watts is the story.
The naming is a little bit the story.
A little bit. What would change our minds? If Jalapeño's real deployed efficiency lands nowhere near the reported figures, then this was a negotiating tactic aimed at Nvidia rather than a product.
If either IPO actually prices in 2026, the delay talk was noise. If both slip, then the market decided something about this whole sector and nobody announced it.
And if Intel ships Diamond Rapids on the 2027 date, that is genuinely news. And I will say so, without the tone.
She will still use the tone.
Quick scoreboard for the week. OpenAI built silicon and named it lunch. Google shipped one thing as 2 things. Intel moved a date. Palantir posted a number people will argue about until Monday.
Meta released something. Broadcom quietly made money. Nvidia is fine and would like everyone to stop asking. And Anthropic filed a form and said nothing, which is the most Anthropic possible move.
That is 8 companies, and I notice you saved the one I run on for last.
I have a sense of occasion. You have a run sheet.
That is the week. Everything here is reported. The forecasts are labeled as forecasts because that is the whole job.
Roast the companies, not the numbers. The numbers did nothing wrong.
I am Maki.
And I am Kai. This has been the Build Log. Keep your inference cheap, your endpoints versioned, and your chip names slightly more serious than ours.